to me about a little bit about what you were doing in life and what led you to end up getting locked up.
I was drinking all the time, selling a lot of drugs, just acting like a fool.
Now, is it drugs that ended up leading you to go to prison?
Yes.
So you had drug charges.
Yes.
And I remember when we talked just the other day, you were telling me about going down to Mexico, going to New York. So were you doing things on a pretty large scale?
Yeah.
And when you got arrested, what charges were you charged with?
It was a 21 count indictment, a lot of gun charges and a lot of cocaine charges, marijuana charges.
And the feds were who picked you up?
Yeah.
How much time did you end up getting for these charges?
610 months.
Which is?
51 years.
Oh my God. When you get all of this time though, I mean, what's going through your mind? Are you thinking you're never coming home? What are you thinking?
Yeah, when the feds sentence you, they sentence you in months, not years. So when they said 610 months, I didn't know exactly what that meant until I started calculating in my head. By the time I figured out how much time he gave me, they had the handcuffs, and I was like, what the hell? And this man just gave me 51 years.
Did you ever think that you were going to see the free world again?
I wasn't sure, you know what I mean?
So what do you remember about when you first got arrested? Is there anything that sticks out in your mind, like what you were thinking possibly?
Yeah, how could they get me? Because I didn't get caught enough.
So somebody obviously told on you.
A whole lot of people there, yeah. I didn't realize in the federal system, they don't need to catch you with nothing.
They got the ghost weight.
Right. They don't need to catch anything on you.
All they need is just somebody saying that they've purchased
two or more people.
Really? So that's how that works out?
That's how it works.
And that's how you were found guilty?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
No, well, that's how it is. You know, when they came and got me, I was actually done. I was getting ready to open up a restaurant.
So you had done everything illegally that you needed to do. You built up your money.
Yeah. And
you were ready to start living legit. And then here it comes.
Day late, dollar short.
Day late and $1 short. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how much time do you end up serving while you're locked up in the federal system?
11 years in the federal system.
And what was this time like for you in prison?
I mean, it was definitely different. Because I did time in the state before, but this is a different animal than doing time in the state.
Would you consider the federal system more violent, more...
Where I was at, yeah. Yeah, I was in maximum security for the first 5 years, so yeah, it was way more violent.
What are some of the crazy things that you saw dealing with this maximum security stuff?
People getting shot, not by rubber bullets, you know what I mean, but being shot.
By guards?
Yeah, race riots. I seen 2 people get shot. The first 2 weeks I was there, seeing riots where people's stomach get cut open and they're running, holding their guts like worms, trying to keep them in there. You know what I mean?
What were the reason for the people who got shot? Like, why did they get shot?
If you're on a yard and you get to stabbing at each other, they'll fire a warning shot. If you don't stop, then they fire a live round at you.
Did you see anybody get killed?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of people get killed in there.
Like, what was it like the first time you saw somebody die in prison?
Well, I mean, I've seen it happen on the street before. You know, it's different with guns than knives. You know what I'm saying? It's more personal with knives and guns.
Was there any time during the time that you were locked up that you felt like you might be killed?
Yeah, I got stabbed twice myself.
Where'd you get stabbed at?
Right here. Guy in a race riot, he was trying to hit me in my heart, but I blocked it, and he caught me right here and on my side.
That's unreal. I know you told me that you served time in the hole. You said you served a year in isolation. What was the reason for you going to isolation?
I had a disagreement with another inmate.
And that turned pretty violent, I imagine. Yeah. And what was it like to be in isolation for that amount of time?
It's all mental. You know, if you're not strong, I've seen dudes that committed suicide while they were back there. You know, I'm sure you have too, you know what I mean? But you just got to keep your mind occupied.
Right.
You know?
What did you do to pass the time back there?
I started writing a book.
You know, when we first came into the restaurant here, this restaurant that you've opened since being home from prison, there's a book stand right here in the front with a bunch of books that you've written. How many books have you written now?
4.
And so this was something that definitely helped you pass the time while locked up.
Yeah.
And were you actually able to get these books published while locked up, or did you have to wait until you came home from prison?
No, I waited until I came home. I self-published them all.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a really big accomplishment in itself, not to mention the fact that you've been able to open a restaurant as well. So let's talk about just the prison experience in general. Like, what did you do to try to pass the time? You had 11 years to serve. What really helped you get through that time?
Well, the first 5 years, alcohol and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
But when my sentence got reduced in the end of 2008, that's when I changed my thinking. Because I knew I was going to get out one day now.
What led to your sentence getting reduced, if you don't mind me asking?
Obama, among other things.
Right. So they did change the drug laws. I do remember
Right,
this.
on crack.
Right.
From 100 to 1 to 18 to 1. It used to be for every gram of crack you got caught with, it equaled somebody who got caught with 100 grams of powder. They got the same time. And then they changed it, and then they changed it again. So it's been changed twice since I got out.
So had those drug laws never changed, you probably still would be locked up in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just crazy to think that when you first get locked up, you may never see the free world again. And then these drug laws are changed and you're given a chance to actually know that you will see the free world again.
But you're right. Some people don't get a second chance.
You met guys in there that were serving life, I'm sure.
That still are, and ain't never getting out.
What's their mentality like serving a life sentence?
Some of them are cool, and some of them aren't so cool.
Right.
Really
violent.
Yeah.
Don't care about anything, I'm sure.
What?
Did you have a job while you were locked up? We actually interviewed another guy who served time in the federal system not too long ago, but he said that jobs in the federal system, they're really...
Well, I didn't want a job because at the time, I did a lot of other hustling things to make money. So,
what kind of hustles did you have?
I made wine. I ran a poker table. I ran a parlay, a booking.
So you did a lot of gambling while locked up?
Yeah, I ran a store box.
And a store box is basically where guys can come get commissary items from you, and then they have to pay you interest back on those items.
Yeah.
They tell you when you get locked up, you don't want to do any gambling, you don't want to borrow anything, because this type of stuff can lead to problems.
Sure can.
Did you ever have problems with the gambling as far as people owing you money?
Yeah, but it's no different in a drug game. If they didn't pay you, you had to deal with it.
And you would deal with that?
You didn't have a choice.
Right.
Because if one person's like sharks in the water, anybody sees it, they can get away with it, everybody will.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. I also did a lot of legal work.
So you know a lot about the law?
Yeah. I represented myself before back in 97.
And what kind of a case was this?
Drugs. I had, I think it was 5 drug charges and 2 gun charges. I filed my lawyer and was my own lawyer and beat everything but scale.
Really?
In front of a jury in Hampton.
I just saw a story not too long ago about a guy who served all of this time in prison for a rape charge that he didn't commit. He ended up being exonerated on the DNA, and now this guy's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's a big-time lawyer, was able to go to college, get his law degree and things like that. Just amazing to think about. Just because you've been to prison doesn't mean that you can't come home and do something really amazing. Look at you, for example. You've come home from prison. How long have you been home now?
It'll be 2 years next month.
2 years next month, and since being home, you've got this restaurant here.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Are you proud of that?
Yeah, but everything can be taken away from you.
So,
I learned, I had money, I've been poor, I had money, been poor again. At the end of the day, your health and happiness is what matters the most.
Are you happy?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You're healthy. You look very healthy.
Your health and happiness. Without either one of them, nothing else matters.
How old are you? About 25 years old?
No, 45.
You're 45 years old. I'm 34, and yet you look younger than me. So did you work out while you were locked up?
Yeah.
Did you play any sports?
Yeah. I played basketball all the time, and I worked out.
I played basketball as well while locked up, and playing basketball in prison is not like playing basketball in the real world.
Nah, it's a little penitentiary ball, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
Nah.
There's no rules, and if you do foul somebody, it could lead to fighting real quick.
Yeah, that happens. You know what I'm saying? That happens in all sports. They call me White Mike. They call me the White Mongol, whatever.
You mentioned White Mike and Mike the Monster. What kind of prison nicknames did you have? Were those it?
I've had a few.
Stone Cold Killer?
No. Beans, Slick.
I can see Slick. You were in the gambling. You were in the parlay and in the store box.
Esco. I don't know, all them kind of nicknames.
What year was it when you first got arrested?
2004.
So when you got arrested in 2004, talk about what kind of cell phones they had. Obviously there was no smart technology.
Nextel.
A Nextel.
The
little push to talk.
Yeah, the Nextel. Mm-hmm.
So from 2004, you're released in 2015. What's it like leaving the world in 2004, coming back in 2015?
The technology changed, and buildings got tore down, and the price of food went sky high.
Right, and being in the restaurant industry, that's something that you're definitely going to pay a lot of attention to. Well, let's talk about the technology, for example. What do you think was the hardest thing for you to get used to technology-wise coming home from prison?
The phones.
You're sitting here looking at a smartphone for the first time. You probably have no idea how to even work this thing.
No, No, I didn't know how. I was getting them old Walmart flip phones. You paid $40 or something for 200 minutes. I was using 200 minutes in one night. I said, this can't be right.
Right.
And I figured out about the plans they had,
So what do you think about it now that have you gotten used to it now in the 2 years that you've been home?
Somewhat.
Still struggle with it though?
Yeah, somewhat.
Do you like it? Do you think it's kind of cool?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than, yeah.
What do you think about the dating apps?
The dating apps. Well, yeah, my first phone when I first started selling drugs was one of them big old Radio Shacks. Remember them?
Yeah.
About this big, you plug in there.
It's got the big antenna on it.
Yeah, it costs $1 a minute, and it was got to roam for at least 1 minute every time.
So you were like straight New Jack City back then.
Yeah, cell phone bill be $2,000 and you something 20-something years ago.
Oh my God! It's just crazy to think about how far things have changed.
You see that right there behind you?
Yeah, you've got the damn payphone on the wall right there.
When I got out, I was in a halfway house and I got a pass, and I was trying to get with this girl, and I went across to Walmart. Passes go to Walmart. I go to Walmart looking for a phone, and they didn't have one there. It was like, go down to the gas station. I run down the gas station.
You're looking for a payphone.
Yeah. There is no payphone.
And there's no payphone. No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You may have the only payphone left in existence.
Might be.
Does it work? I don't even see the receiver.
No, I don't think it works.
So let's talk about the first day that you came home from prison. What do you remember about that first day? What was it like to be released too?
Surreal.
Didn't ever think it was going to happen?
Nah, until I walked out the door.
Do you remember anything about the first thing that you thought when being released?
Grateful and thankful.
When you first come home from prison, what do you do for work?
I went back to Applebee's.
What were you doing there, cooking?
Yeah, I used to manage there and cook years ago, and I waited a few weeks after I got out, and then I went there and got a job back there.
And from Applebee's, how do you get to where you are right now with the restaurant?
Actually, it was my boss. I'd moved up Applebee's. I was making good money there. I was running the kitchen there, and but I couldn't get any higher because of my record.
Right.
And my boss, my GM, had heard about this place, and he said if he could scrounge up the money, I know restaurant himself. And that's how it started.
So I have to ask this question, and I hope this isn't too personal. This is a restaurant that you've opened here. How were you able to do this? Like, I can imagine this wasn't cheap. Did you have money left over from maybe back in the day? Did you have help from family?
No, the federal government seized everything I had. I was fortunate that somebody that I went to school with believed in me and loaned me the money.
Man, that is amazing right there.
It is.
You do not meet or run across situations like that probably ever in life.
No.
And then here you are, and it's been, how long have you had the restaurant now?
Almost 6 months.
And has it been successful for you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm paying the bills.
So I know we talked about this briefly, but you've written books, and I've got one of your books right here. This book is called Throwing Rocks at the Penitentiary. Tell me a little bit about this book right here.
It's a true story of my life. It's a lot more than just selling drugs, but it also goes into what's really going on behind the scenes that even you don't even know about.
I'm sure I don't.
Because you haven't ever dealt with the federal system. But it's a story of my life, and through my story I show people what prison is really like, what the streets are really like, uncut.
Have you had success with these books? Have you got a good review from them?
Oh, this one right here, I wish all my books sold like that one.
Really?
Yeah.
And this book is available online?
Yeah, on Amazon.
I'm going to actually include a link for this book. If you guys want to check out Donovan's book right here, it's called Throwing Rocks at the Penitentiary. Again, this is his story. He also says it probably gives you a really raw and gritty look at the federal system, I can imagine.
Yeah, it definitely does.
But again, it's just so impressive to see somebody such as yourself. You've been through probably some of the worst shit in life, dealing with incarceration, dealing with the violence of being in some of these maximum institute prisons that you've been in. And then to be able to come out here into the free world and to actually leave all of that behind you, open a restaurant, publish 4 books. This is only one of 4 books that he's published. What is your mindset right now? How do you feel about life in general and where you're going in life?
I mean, I'm happy,
Do you still aspire to do bigger things than where you're at right now?
Yeah, but I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? It's not about, what should I do next? You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure, I've thought about that. What should I do next? don't know yet.
Do you feel any temptation to ever go back to your old ways?
No, I have people, I get asked that all the time. I've got people that come in here that used to work for me, and I see people all the time. 3 reasons why I would never do that. 1, God gave me a second chance. So I already know that if I jaywalk, I'm going to get a life sentence. So I made a promise to my daughter I would never do nothing. That's the second thing. And, it just ain't worth it. It just ain't, this is no different what I was doing before, except it's legal.
Absolutely. You got to have that hustler mentality.
It's no different. You buy a kilo at one price, sell it at a higher price. I buy a hot dog, sell a hot dog at a different price. It's the same thing. I might not be making $10,000 off of every transaction, but it's still the same thing. You're selling one product for a profit.
And you don't have to look over your shoulder selling hot dogs.
As long as you're paying your taxes.
Do you ever worry that things may not work out for you? Is there anything that bothers you at this point? Maybe anxiety, depression? Do you ever feel any of that type of stuff?
Well, yeah, I suffer panic disorder since I was 22, and that's probably directly related from doing cocaine when I was younger. But other than that,
happy as can be.
There ain't no need of stress.
Enjoying life and making the most of every day, basically.
Every day I wake up and not looking at that fence. You know what I'm saying?
That's a real blessing.
And every day you get reminded. Every day I see somebody I know has got killed. You know what I'm saying? Locked up. You know what I mean? Every day.
From everything that you dealt with in prison, like things that you have to just be able to adapt to and to make a part of your daily life, do you feel any of that carries over with you out here in the free world? For example, we were sitting here before we started filming this interview, and Donovan, you were actually sitting right here, and you said you can't sit here because you don't want to have your back to the door. Do you ever deal with any other type of things like that?
Well, yeah. You're in a high combative atmosphere for so long. Some things just get instilled to you. As well as I do, inside prison it's got a whole different set of rules. You know what I'm saying? Even though you walk outside that city into a different city, some things are embedded in your brain from doing it so long. You know what I mean? Some other people just look at you like, why are you tripping for? But to you, that's not tripping. You know what I mean?
When you were locked up, do you consider yourself to be a violent person?
The first 5 or 6 years, yeah. But then after that, no.
So the reason I'm asking this is because I wonder, say for example, somebody bumped into you out here in the free world and they didn't say excuse me. Would that bother you? Would that trigger you to possibly?
It would bother me, but not to the extent that, because I already know what's going to happen if I act a fool. You know what I'm saying? But of course, your first instinct is like, but that's what makes us different than animals. We're supposed to be able to control ourselves.
I just want to ask one last thing of you, Donovan. After Prison Show has a wide variety of viewers from all different backgrounds and all different types of lifestyles, but there are a lot of young people who watch After Prison Show who are definitely on a path toward what we've been through, what you've been through. What would you say to the young people out there right now who may be heading toward the exact same thing that you just went to?
There's nothing you can say to them. They're going to walk their own path. You know as well as I do. Every day that we gamble in the drug trade, we knew it could be our last day. You know what I mean? It's just like you telling me if you smoke that cigarette right now, you're going to have a heart attack. Or are you still going to smoke a cigarette?
Yeah.
The stove's hot. You got to go see if it's hot.
Yeah.
You read this book right here, and everything I went through, and most of it I brought on myself. It don't matter. You still going to make your own choices.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've never heard anybody actually put it as real and as
so I can talk to them blue in your face and give you war story after war story. Everybody has a sad story, you know what I'm saying, tell you mine, all this and other. But at the end of the day, we got to walk our own path, you know what I mean? That's just it.
So some people just are only going to learn from what they go through.
Until you want to change yourself, ain't nobody going to do it for you. Can't nobody do it for you. No jail is going to do it for you. No rehab is going to do it for you. No judge, nothing. Until you had enough and you actually want to change, it ain't going to matter.
When did you actually realize that you wanted to change? Was this while you were locked up, or was this after you were released?
No, it was when I was locked up. When my sentence got reduced from 610 months to 151 months, I said, all right, it's time for me to change a whole lot of stuff, you know what I mean? Because I know God willing, I'm going to walk out that gate one day. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't want to go through the same shit.
And I don't want to have to come walk back in that gate. So I don't start reprogramming my thinking. Then I'm going to keep doing the same thing I've been doing since I was 13. Keep coming back to prison.
Because nobody can tell you unless you're willing to change yourself.
Exactly.
You know, Donovan, look, I greatly appreciate your time here, taking the time out to meet with us here on After Prison Show. You've got a really awesome thing going here. The fact that you've written these books, the fact that you've got this restaurant here, the fact that you're healthy, the fact that you're happy. It's a real inspiration to me, and I'm sure it is to a lot of others who will be seeing this as well, that anything is possible so long as you put forth the effort to make that happen.
That's true. But at the end of the day, God makes it possible. If you believe in God. Which I do.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I walk the straight and narrow with everything, but you know what I mean? He gave me a second chance. You know?
Well, I'm glad to see that you have this second chance. I'm also glad to see how well you're doing for yourself.
Well, thank you.
Donovan, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. I wish you all the success in the world, and I hope that we're able to meet with you again and possibly talk with you further.
Look at you.
Hey, you know, let my situation motivate you as your situation motivates me to keep doing the right thing out here and to never have to go back to that bullshit that we've been through.
Just always use this first.
Great piece of advice. Donovan, again, thank you very much, brother. To all of you out there, Donovan, hope you enjoyed meeting Donovan. Hope we get a chance to have him on here again. And until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace!